lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, nah, likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains, I'm the boss, I'm making change. I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things, gonna make a f***ing name. I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame. No, I'm not that vain, I just wanna be greatness. 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 Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste it, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate it, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking fight me. Okay, I'm going off every chance I get. I don't really take a loss, well, I'll admit. That's why I'll make it to the top, yeah, I commit. And no, I'm never getting lost, I get after it. Investing in my own stock, cause it's faster than any crypto hits go, let me spend. Everything that you see is something I invent, and it's only a percent. I'm gonna take shots, if I miss all, forget it. I'll take a fat loss just to learn all that's in it. I'm taking snapshots, learning how to fall and get it. I'm getting back up, always stand tall, don't sweat it. I never back up, I don't miss a thing or regret it. I'm always learning, you could call me academic. I'm always working, never been apathetic. That energy is like a poison, needs some antiseptic. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste this, you can try me. If you wanna hate this, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fight me. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste it, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate it, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking fight me. No motherfucker in this world can do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself.
Hey, beautiful people.
Howdy.
Beautiful MacJay. How are we? So good to be back.
It is.
Sorry, we had to move some shows around because I have not been well. I know some of you know my condition, and MacJay's heard a lot about it over the last couple of days. But I had a med change. They brought me down from the CBD tablets and put me on new ones. So it knocked me around a bit while I was going down and back off and back on. Plus getting rid of the grandson's flu that's finally gone. So that's good. Hi, beautiful Julie. Tammy, how are you, my darling? Mark, so good to see you in here. And beautiful Mrs. T. So, I don't know, we've heard lots of little bits and pieces over the last week or two. I've put together a little presentation that sort of drops off from where we left off in the last one. And MacJay's also made one for us as well of all the different faces of Gypsy. So we're going to go over them two today. And then Friday, we're going to come back and do Nick's interrogation, because really to start with this case, once you know a bit of the background, it's the interrogations that tell everything, because they both drop on themselves so much in that. That's where I want to stay. Jody is cool. How are you, my darling? Another thing too, just I want to say this while Jody's in here. This Saturday, we're going to the Titanic exhibition. So Jody was asking me if I was going to go. Kitty Witty, how are you, my darling? So Spirit Time has booked us in for lunchtime on Saturday, and we're going to go and have a look. So I'll bring. Do you want to start with mine or yours? Which one did we want to do first?
Yours.
Okay. So this is, as I said, it's just sort of takes off from where we left off last time. Just goes through. I've got to see which pictures come up first. It always seems to take longer.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
I don't know why I'm
Can you
getting noises.
Yeah,
Hey?
why? Is it supposed to have music or something with it?
No,
Okay.
just so we could stop and talk about what I've got there.
All right, because I wasn't sure because I couldn't hear it.
Yeah, Saturday at lunchtime, Jodie. I'm so excited. So what the exhibition is, it's supposed to be to take you back to the Titanic, and it's got 200 actual artifacts that were there. DJ Aussie Mum, how are you, my darling? So last time we were on, we spoke about, do you know what I mean, basically Gypsy growing up and Dee Dee's upbringing we touched on. We got to just about where Hurricane Katrina had hit. Now, what we've got to understand too is just before Hurricane Katrina hit, doctors were starting to take notice of Gypsy's medical records. They were starting to ask questions on the medical records. There's even, talk out there that one of the doctors did do a muscle density test on Gypsy, and that came back as well that she didn't have the muscle the muscle problems that she had. It came back that she didn't need the wheelchair. Dee Dee was getting, everything was closing down on her because people were working out Gypsy wasn't as sick as what she was making out. And that's when Hurricane Katrina hit. And basically once, where they moved into the pink house. So this was them on the plane. Okay. Hang on. So yeah, Dee Dee and Gypsy moved in October 2005, just after the Hurricane Katrina devastated areas of New Orleans. Claudine, who was known as Dee Dee, and her daughter Gypsy moved to a home in Missouri. What was the pink one? At this time, Dee Dee claimed that Gypsy's medical records were destroyed in the flooding and that her daughter was diagnosed with multiple conditions. Now, this is what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? You've got to think now of the situation was that the doctors were starting to ask questions about Gypsy's health. They were starting to do tests. So that's why, in my opinion, Dee Dee said that they were all lost. She didn't want those records coming out.
Nope.
I think today do you know what I mean? There's still some of those records that are still sealed, put it that way. There's doctors out there that are still not released. And even though it's been asked of, they still haven't released all of the medical records. And that's why I reckon, because some of those tests show that she's not as sick as... And that's where you've got to ask, was it Dee Dee that was bad to Gypsy, or is it a bit of medical fraud for the doctors letting it go on so long? I don't know. It's so Dee Dee was reportedly used different variations and spellings of her name over the years and seemed convinced that Gypsy suffered several health issues. You've also got to realise too, a lot of the medication that she was taking at the time, and I know some of us have seen the medicine cabinet. I'm sure you have by now, MacJay. But a lot of those medications were over-the-counter medications too. They weren't all ones, but... So this is the pink house. It's not pink anymore, I will say that. So a pink house for Gypsy, March 2008 by the Habit of Humanity. They built a pink house for the Blanchetts in Springfield, Missouri, including access features like a wheelchair and ramps. Gypsy used a wheelchair at the time and had an oxygen tank and used a feeding tube at the time. I know the feeding tube wasn't needed as well. That was something that should have been taken away a long time ago.
Nope.
Gypsy and Dee Dee received an outpour of support from community members, organisations like Make-A-Wish Foundation, and even celebrities like Miranda Lambert. They accepted free charity tips and large sums of money to help with Gypsy. What are you confused about, Tammy? But it wasn't. So only some of the medical records have came out. There is still medical records that some were sealed by Dee Dee herself. And there's just doctors out there that have also refused to put out the medical records, being the reason that some of them are saying that Gypsy wasn't as sick as what she was. So here's Gypsy on one of her operations. Oh, hang on. I'm just going to go back a little bit. So Gypsy's doctors have doubts. From 2007 to 2009, Gypsy's former neurologist, Dr. Brando Frankenstein, reportedly found no evidence of her condition in 2007. In a letter obtained by the ABC News from this doctor to Gypsy's primary care doctor, the doctor wrote, "I believe that the mother suffers from the Munchausen paroxysm." So that's when they started looking at Dee Dee as well. The outlet found that the other doctor called authorities in 2009 when he could not find the symptoms that supported what Dee Dee alleged to be wrong with her daughter. Medical records show that Gypsy and her mother visited more than 150 medical professionals over the years. So another thing that I have found as I've been going through is that if a doctor didn't tell Dee Dee what she wanted or didn't sign the papers of what she wanted to fit her narrative, she would just go to another doctor who would. She is. She is.
Yeah.
This is another photo of Gypsy. So this is, people ask why Gypsy didn't try and run away. This was one of her runaway attempts in 2011 before Nick came on the scene. We've all heard stories about Dan. So Dan was someone that Gypsy met at a convention. The story went that by lunchtime, no one could find Gypsy. Everyone was looking for Gypsy, and she was up in a motel room. By what we know, it was Dan's. Dan was who Gypsy thought do you mean, she was going to date. Obviously, the one she was going to try before Nick anyway, because she did talk with Dan about doing something to her mother. She did run away to Dan's. Dan was married with children. What can we say? She even arranged to meet Dan after they did what they did with Dee Dee before they went to Nick's house. So 2011, Gypsy said that she tried to run away to be with the man that she met at the convention, but Dee Dee caught her. According to Gypsy, Dee Dee destroyed her phone and computer and then chained her to a bed and placed bells on the doors. I do know that when Gypsy agreed to go home, Dee Dee did say that she could have a partner as long as she came home. So I don't know how. And then she met, it was after that conversation that she actually, so after she was caught at Dan's is when Dee Dee agreed that she could have, see someone, and that's when she went home and joined the Christianity site where she met Nick. So Gypsy started chatting with Nick on October 2012. Nick and Gypsy began talking with each other via a Christian dating app. According to the reports, their chats ranged from PG rated to fairy tale declarations of their love to X-rated messages. And I know in one of our presentations I'm working on after the interrogations, we have a lot of those text messages.
Oh, yeah.
That MacJay's found. So Gypsy says that she's in love in October 2014 through a secret Facebook account. Gypsy reportedly tells one of her friends that she was in love with Nicholas, a man that she met on a Christian single site. Their online relationship lasted about 3 years, according to the Springfield News. What was an old article we found?
Yep.
Cinderella and Prince Charming, March 2015, Gypsy and Nick meet for the first time at the Springfield Theatre. She wore a Cinderella costume and he dressed as Prince Charming. I'm sure we've all heard the stories of what happened at the theatre. They went to the disabled toilet. It's where Nick thinks that he took Gypsy's virginity, and it's also where Nick thinks that she fell pregnant, because Gypsy did tell Nick that she was pregnant. She did tell him that they were having a little girl, and that when her mum got her feeding tube changed is how she lost the baby. So the passing of Dee Dee was June 9th, 2015. Again, Gypsy, so when Nick came up for the theatre, Gypsy paid for that trip. She also paid for his trip in June 2015. Gypsy told 2020 that Nick travelled to Missouri and checked into a motel as Dee Dee took her to a hospital appointment. Gypsy said that Nick later went to Dee Dee's house, where Gypsy gave him the gloves, a knife, and the duct tape. We also know that she had already pre-sent him a video of what to do. What we have got a copy of, I'm sure.
Yep.
I think you posted that.
I believe I did, yes.
So while Gypsy hid in the bathroom shaving her lady parts, Nick went into Dee Dee's bedroom. Now, we know that there was... This is where it gets confusing. We know that there was 17 steps.
Yep.
What we don't know is, did Nick do them all? So when we go over his interrogation, you will hear that he only admits to 4. This is something that me and MacJay were only just talking about too. They are now talking about bringing out her autopsy results again. Some of the people I've been following are looking into trying to get it. It's going to be very telling because one thing we know is Nick is left-handed and Gypsy is right-handed. So that's going to tell us. Because even when we go through the interrogation, the officer says, "Are you sure it's only 4?" Because there was 17. So now they're back at the motel room. They enjoy each other's company for a few days and then took a bus to Wisconsin, where Nick lived. Before making the trip, they mailed the knife that they used for Dee Dee's passing from Springfield to Wisconsin. I have some questions here.
So do
like
I.
I do with everything. My thing is, did she actually plan to go back to Nick's? Now, we know she sent the knife. We know she sent, do you know what I mean, the gloves and all of the DNA back to Nick's. But the thing is, you got to think about it. When he brought that ticket back, because he had a return ticket for himself, why didn't Gypsy have a ticket? Why didn't they buy her a ticket? Because she was paying for it all anyway. What makes me ask questions, did Gypsy actually plan on going back with Nick, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just send evidence to his house so that he gets caught with it?
Tammy has a question.
Yes, he is. So there is a petition going around. They are trying to get him an appeal. But he got life in jail, so he's without parole, so he can't get out. Whereas Gypsy took a plea deal and got 10 years, only having to serve the 8, what she has served. But Nick was railroaded in his, like, we'll go through the court ones as well. You'll see he was railroaded because as soon as Gypsy took the appeal, they stopped trying to work with Nick. Do you know what I mean? He didn't get a fair trial at all. And I'm not saying that he's innocent. Do you know what I mean? I understand he did do some of these stab wounds to Dee Dee, and he's probably where he needs to be. But he deserves a fair trial to get there. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't deserve to be just thrown in there because of the way he is with the autism and stuff. It's not fair that he didn't get a fair trial. It's... If they do a trial and they say, yes, he still should be there and he should still serve time, then so be it. That's what it is. But he deserves
A fair
fair trial at it.
Because if I'm remembering correctly, in the documents, doesn't it say that they tried to dismiss his autism in the initial court documents?
Yep, even in the courtroom, they didn't look at his autism as part of it. Do you know what I mean? Basically, you've got to think what Gypsy was already looking for someone to do it. If it wasn't going to be Nick, it would have been someone else. She had already spoke to Dan about doing it. Dan wouldn't do it. He didn't want to be part of it. Then she goes onto this Christian website. She's got an autistic person, and I mean, I'm not talking small autism. He's very autistic. And he's on a Christian website telling her that he has another alter ego that's a vampire that likes to kill people. And bingo, I think.
Yeah.
She just saw everything that she needed in one. And where did she get the money? She stole the money from her mother's safe. So, as we all know, Dee Dee would get, do you mean every charity and everyone that would give her money, but she also had savings in a safe. And every time Gypsy was giving Nick the money or when she wanted money, that's where she went. When they were caught, I think they had like $4,000. I think it was about that on them.
Yep.
At Nick's house. It's actually one of the crime scene photos is all the money.
I think we've got that.
Yeah, we do.
Somewhere.
This photo I put in because it's got their cube car behind it, but it's actually the last photo taken of Dee Dee before it happened. And you can actually see how much weight she was putting on because of her diabetes. She was actually really sick in this one. You can see in her face how puffed up she was as well. But yeah, that was the last one taken of them together.
That's sad.
And then we're up to where Dee Dee's found passed away. So the 9th of June is when Nick came. The 14th of June is when they found Dee Dee's body. And they found the body because there's a page out there called GPY Blanchett. It's a Facebook page and it actually has a post on it. The bee is dead. There was also friends on there obviously getting quite worried, and the post is still there. You can still see it today because the Facebook page is memorialized for Dee Dee. And you can actually see all the friends right at the start. Do you mean are you watching a movie? Are you okay? Sending people over there. Again, this is a very calculated move by Gypsy as well, because Gypsy done this from Nick's house when they got back. And again, it tells me, well, my alarm bells in it is that she sent that post knowing that they would be able to pinpoint the IP address back to Nick's. I know that they act like they didn't know that they were going to get caught, but I think Gypsy knew all along, and that's what she was trying to do because she had the evidence there. They didn't throw the evidence away. They didn't, drop it in water. They sent it to Nick's house. She put it in Nick's wardrobe, and now she's sending Facebook alerts from his IP address. She knew exactly what she was doing.
Oh, yes, she did. She's a very dangerous individual.
Mm-hmm. She wanted Nick caught so she could play the sweet, innocent little girl like she always did. That's what gets me so cranky. So this is the post that is on Dee Dee's wall.
Can I just point out something really quick?
Yep.
If you notice, with the Nick only ever admitted to stabbing, right? Well, but in Dee Dee's tweet, she said, "I such a slash that such and such." Now, here's the interesting thing: in the crime scene photos, which I don't think YouTube will let us show, Dee Dee's neck has been cut in such a way that it's not a stab. Do you know the photo I'm talking about, Ozzy?
Yeah, I do.
So
I might be able to. We'll find a way to get we do have the crime scene pictures. I don't know. Maybe if we open a Patreon or something, we'll be able to do it that way. I think that's the only one that you could get away with it, because Facebook you couldn't, and not on YouTube either.
Well, if you're in the Facebook group, maybe we could put them on your Facebook group for them if they want to see. I don't know. Just an idea.
Well, me and MacJay will discuss it and see how we can get it. I don't even know if you could send them through email if people wanted them.
Yeah.
Because they are pretty gruesome, but we do have them. She is very manipulating to me, and this is what gets me, is that she's now walking free, and not only is she walking free, she's getting so much publicity. Like, she came out with 3 movie or 3 TV contracts and 2 book deals. She's already wrote a book and let one out, and she's writing another one. She's had, what did they do? Prisoner's Confessions.
Oh yeah, second season of that coming, by the way.
Yeah, and there was another show, Baddies or something, that she was in.
Yes.
And they're also working on doing a, what do you call it, like a, where they put the cameras on you all the time, like a tell-all thing on her life.
A day in the life of Gypsy kind of thing.
Yeah, but
yeah.
So, and it's quite sad to think that she's getting all this attention and poor Nick's still sitting and still in love with her by the day. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't see anything wrong.
He doesn't.
I think also that bottom one where she commented back was because people were starting to say, are they watching a movie or what's going on? So she had to bring the attention more to the fact of what had happened too.
But yeah. Thanks for letting me bring that up. I just thought it was important since we're going into the
interrogation. I think that's why I made sure I had that one in there. DD48 is found. So it goes away. Hang on. Where did I stop it? So DD48 is found in the home later that evening with fatal stab wounds. Investigators say that it appeared she passed days earlier. Gypsy is nowhere to be found, and her wheelchair is left in the house. It was in the bathroom. Again, this is where I know both me and MacJay have our questions, because as we said, there is 17 and the slash that MacJay was just talking about. But when we go over Nick's interrogation, you will hear, one thing I will say about Nick is he's very honest, and you'll hear it in his interrogation. He's very well-mannered, even for his autism. Reality TV, that's what it was earlier that I was thinking of. That's what Gypsy's doing, a reality TV program. But, yeah, Nick is very honest when he talks. And the one thing he's adamant about is that he only done it to Dee Dee 4 times. So there was 17. He believes he only done it 4 times. Gypsy said that she didn't go back into the room. What I have questions on, because we know that she took the money and that was in the room. And my other question is, when we've seen some of the crime scene photos of Dee Dee in the bed, there is baby blankets that are tucking her in. Now, to me, do you mean I'm not, now Dee Dee was a big lady, I'm not saying that I'm not that big, but if someone came in and jumped on me, like, because she was on her belly, so someone jumped on my back, do you know what I mean? I'm not going to just let them sit there and like lay there and let them, do you mean?
Yeah, I do.
I just find it hard that, do you know what I mean, not only was she not, like, the blankets weren't moved around, but there was actually baby blankets tucking her back in. And I couldn't see Nick, if he's, do you mean, gone in there and taken her life, that he's going to be sitting there with baby blankets tucking her back under.
No,
because like all the baby blankets are tucked in.
Yeah, that sounds more like someone familiar. Yeah.
It's more of a caring role, do you know what I mean? Whereas And like my other question is too, Gypsy will tell you straight out the last thing that Dee Dee said to her. So the day that it happened, they were watching movies. They were doing apparently painting toenails and stuff. But the last thing I've heard that Dee Dee said to Gypsy was, "Don't hurt me." Why would a mum go to bed telling their child not to hurt them?
Yes.
I mean, just questions in my... Like I have 4 kids and 2 grandchildren. They don't go to bed saying, "Don't hurt me." Like, I don't know. Just more questions. Yep. It's going to be the Gypsy show. And that's all it's been since she's got out. She's made it all on her.
But if you watch her social media posts, you can kind of, if you look carefully, you can kind of catch what she's not saying in regards to the case.
She did take sleeping tablets, but I mean, I don't know. I take sleeping tablets as well. Mine are really strong, but I would still wake up to if someone was on top of me trying to hurt me. I don't think the sleeping tablet would be that good. Like, sleeping tablets help you get to sleep. They'll help keep you in a sleep. But do you know what I mean? If someone's hurting you, I don't think you would still be. That's just in my opinion. It is. Nick's the one I feel sorry for. And do you know what I mean? I thought the other day, I was thinking, and I was listening to some people who are doing lives on this, and I was asking myself what keeps bringing me back to this case. And it's because this case doesn't actually have a hero. Nick tried to be the hero. Nick thought he was helping Gypsy, but he wasn't. Do you know what I mean? What he did isn't heroic. But that's the thing that I think keeps bringing me back to this case, is everyone in it tries to be the hero, but none of them actually are.
Mm-hmm. Including law enforcement.
It's why I really want to bring the photos out, because some of them we might be able to show. I'll have to go through them. I mean, some I know are too gruesome, but in the ones of just Dee Dee laying there, you can definitely see the sheets tucked in, like the baby sheets. Yeah. So this house is Nick's. This is where they came back to. I think it's just been sold. So Nick's house gets surrounded by police on June 2015. A vigil is held for Dee Dee and Gypsy on the same day, because you've got to understand too, at this time they knew that Dee Dee had passed and everyone was looking for Gypsy, because they thought whoever had taken Dee Dee's life, that they had kidnapped Gypsy. And again, this is a bit of what I think Gypsy wanted them to think. Do you know what I mean? They're looking for the poor girl, as they all put it at the time.
Yep.
But investigators traced that the Facebook post on Dee Dee's account back to Nick's home in Wisconsin. So again, this is where I think Gypsy was playing it to make sure that that IP address got tracked. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't make such a mistake. She would know that would happen. One thing we do know that, do you know what I mean? People might say that Gypsy wasn't very smart, but Gypsy was on the internet all the time at night time. When Dee Dee went to bed, do you know what I mean? She wasn't as silly as people thought. So yeah, I think that post was always there to make the authorities come. Dee Dee's account to Nick's home. So Nick was 26 at the time, and he surrendered to authorities straight away. They both did. Police find Gypsy, who is unharmed and could walk, and she was later arrested as well. There is, do you mean in her interrogation you see her sit in the room for about 2 hours, I think it is, before they actually talk to her. And in that 2 hours is very charming because you can see that she gives, like, the one thing I've noticed with Gypsy when she talks is she'll talk in a normal voice when she's telling the truth. When she's about to tell you a lie is when she gets that high-pitched little voice on her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I noticed that.
So Tammy said it there too. I've been on a few strong sleepers and I can still be woken up if someone jumps on me. Like, that's the thing, Tammy. Like, you think if someone came in, not only jumped on you, but jumped on you and started, do you mean with a knife on you? You're not going to lay there. Even if you're on a sleeper, you're still good. I still think you would wake up. But that's just, in my opinion, too. So this was Nick in his interrogation. We are going to go through that as well. But the things I wanted to point out, and you will notice it when we go through it, is just how polite he is, how truthful he is, and anything other than the actual incident, because obviously, do you know what I mean? He doesn't want to say everything that happened, but he'll forget parts of what happened that day, but yet anything else, down to clothes that he was wearing on other days, he knows exactly everything. He doesn't forget a lot. Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Hey, I'll be right back.
Yeah, you're right, darling.
Yeah.
So Nick, that was Nick's confession. The LED conducted and arrested him in 2013. He told investigators that he stabbed Dee Dee in a plan between himself and Gypsy, who hid in the bathroom during the murder. Gypsy initially denied involvement in the passing, but they were both later charged. But as I said, Gypsy only went as an accessory. What I don't think's right, because we know that she gave him the knife, the gloves, everything. She also sent him a video showing him how to do it and where to go in the house. And she was inside shaving her legs and her lady parts while it happened. So the insanity plea in 2016, Gypsy's attorneys elect not to use an insanity defense in the case against their client. So this is where Gypsy takes her appeal. The thing that made the appeal more advertising to her was the fact that it was only 10 years. She knew that she wasn't going to do life. But as I said, Nick got thrown at the wolves because of it, and do you mean they didn't help him at all? Gypsy pleads guilty in July 2016 at the Greene County prosecutor, Dan Patterson, makes a deal with Gypsy. She pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. By doing so, she avoided a trial. And the thing is, too, I don't know how many of you have watched the new Gypsy series, she doesn't actually have any remorse and thinks that she was not part of a murder. So this is her in the courtroom, and to say that people were shocked because they all seen her as this sick person in a wheelchair, that when people actually seen her walk into the courthouse, do you know what I mean? There was a lot of people that were really hurt. Thank you so much, Jody. You didn't have to do that. And a lot of it's been MacJay. She's been wonderful while I've been sick, trust me. A 10-year sentence is the minimum for second-degree murder, and that's what she got. But she only done 8.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. I wasn't sure.
Gypsy's defense team told reporters the agreement was indicative of the way both prosecutors and the defense feel how Gypsy suffered for the years, because, of course, she played poor me. When I honestly think that if it wasn't Nick, it would have been someone else. She would have got someone to do it. There are some websites over here that have it. I know I watched it on, I have a paid website that gives me American shows anyway, but I think Hulu and there's a couple of other places that do have it. It hasn't been aired over in Australia, but yeah, you can still get copies of it over here.
Yep.
Thank you so much. I think I owe MacJay like 20 coffees by now. The last couple of days, she's answered all my... When I've been really sick, I've wrote to nearly every day. I probably owe like heaps of coffees. So Gypsy, my mother would never have let me have a boyfriend. November 2018, Gypsy takes a stand in Nick's murder trial, and she said that her relationship with Nick was kept a secret from her mum because she controlled every aspect of her life. Again, this is not the truth. This is what Gypsy said, but it's not, because when we go back, you think about, do you mean everything that happened at the convention and with Dan? And it was when she ran away to Dan's house that his roommate actually rang Dee Dee. Dee Dee came and got Gypsy straight away and told Gypsy she could have a relationship as long as she came home. Because even at the time, Gypsy was actually 19 years of age. She could have just walked away then. Gypsy still went home. As I said, she was always online at night when Dee Dee was asleep. So, I mean, she used to sneak out. She used to even catch buses places. So there's, as much as she says that her mum had control of every aspect of her life, I think Gypsy still had control of a fair bit too. Hang on. Let me back a little bit. She said she found out when she was 19 that she wasn't sick, but learnt the full extent of her health after she was... what was that? After she was arrested. Again, this is not true. Gypsy will admit in many interviews that she always knew she could walk. She knew that she wasn't as sick as what was made out. Do you know what I mean? She knew way before then. She even told Dan and told Nick that she could walk and that she wasn't that sick. I do believe she went along with a lot of things, but I also think she learnt from her mother. Yeah. So if we go back to the first one, when we were talking about Dee Dee and how Dee Dee got brought up, Dee Dee learnt this off her mum. When it came to Dee Dee being a mum, she didn't know anything else other than what her mum had taught her. A lot of that was fake checks and things like that, but it was manipulating people. It was taking from people. And that's exactly what Gypsy's doing now. Do you know what I mean? It's just generation playing after generation, because as much as Gypsy wants us to think she's as innocent as she is, she's not. I've even noticed, and this again is in my opinion because we've watched so much of Gypsy's stuff lately, but Gypsy will comment. Sorry, there's people walking past that are being mailed. people will comment about how. So when they were doing interviews, if Gypsy was going to say too much or something Dee Dee didn't want her to say, the Dee Dee used to squeeze her arm or squeeze her back, basically for her to be quiet, or not say what she's going to say. And I swear, as I said, it's in my opinion, there are interviews that I've seen of her and Ryan lately since they've came out, where you can actually see that she's squeezing Ryan. So is he saying something that he's not meant to say? That's where I think she's learned a lot off her mum. That so Gypsy claims it was her idea for them to her mum's passing. That she had 3 plans: meet at the movies, start their relationship with her mum's permission, get pregnant, or have her mum pass. As we do know, she did tell Nick that she was pregnant, but she also told Nick she lost the baby through a feeding tube. They have already spoke about it, Jodie. Gypsy's already talking about having babies with Ryan, where it really scares me because I don't know if he's related to them or not. He looks so much like
Dee Dee, yeah.
So Gypsy reportedly wanted the passing to be the last resort and testified that her mother screamed her name as Nick did what he did. Again, that would be a reaction. And again, that shows you as well that she wasn't asleep when it happened. So again, it comes back to asking why she didn't move, like why she was tucked back in, because if she was awake enough to scream Gypsy's name, she obviously was awake when it happened. Shouldn't Gypsy be charged with premeditation to the fact she asked a previous partner to go away? You would think so. I think it was just in her plea agreement. Do you know what I mean? There was also a clause in the plea agreement that she wouldn't have to pay back any charities for any of the fraud that they had done.
Yeah.
There needs to be another trial, I think, but
Right.
We need new evidence for that. Like the autopsy results when we get them, finally. So Nick was found guilty in November 2018, and Missouri jury finds Nick, 29 at the time, guilty of first degree and an armed criminal action linked to Dee Dee's passing. He was later sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And not only does he have life, I do got to say too, I have joined quite a few pages that are for Nick and have spoke about Nick's condition. And he doesn't get treated nicely in prison, put it that way. He's, he doesn't get treated nicely. At trial, Nick's defense argued that he was motivated to Dee Dee's passing in order to save Gypsy from abuse. He also added that he was blindly in love with Gypsy. Yeah, my darling. I'm getting there. A lot better today than I have been, put it that way. So this is Dee Dee when she was younger. She was quite pretty when she was.
Yeah, she was.
I think that's the end of mine. Take that one down. And MacJay's done one for us.
Yeah, I'll just let it play.
So this is all the different alter egos that MacJay found and has put together. I think you said there was 12 all up. But we didn't find names.
Yeah, I think there's about 6. But the problem is there's only about 4 named, and there's more pictures, but I can't put a name to all of them. But the one that is quote unquote responsible or told Nick to unalive the Dee Dee is the one called Ruby.
What's the one at the end, the third one with the red and black hair?
Yeah, I couldn't get a name on her. There's egos alter egos that I can't put a name to.
Yeah. I do, and this is the thing. So, I know Nick spoke a lot about his egos, but I don't think he had alter egos. I think he just named his personalities. So when he was cranky, do you know what I mean? He had one personality. What a lot of the time was his vampire. He had Mr. Smiley. What was when he was happy. So I think it was more naming his personalities. I have to think there will be many that will tell this girl what they think of her. I think there is people now there's a lot more people turning on her than about her.
I can just skip to
Hey?
you can skip to the next one if you want.
I think 5 seconds they stay on each one.
Yep.
So they just explained some. Yeah, I just got it done. You go.
I just wanted to just say I'm sorry. The music's a little bit loud. I'm still. What do they call it? Canva.
No.
But just point out that you will see there's more detail to their X-rated activities, and they will be mentioned in the text messages, but I don't know if we're allowed to show them, but I think so because other creators have shown the text messages with the explicit.
Yeah, I'm going to go through. So what we'll do is we're going to come back Friday and watch Nick's interrogation. I have found a guy that has amplified the sounds really well. So I'm waiting for a message back from him to see if I can use his version of it, because then I won't get striked, but also I can drop his channel as well, because I've noticed that's what he does with a lot of like interrogations and interviews. He takes out all the sound that we don't want to hear and makes it nice and clear. So I'm hoping that I'll hear back from him before Friday and that we can play his version. If not, I'll find a version that we can play, because I really want to go over and start the interrogations because they are long. We will go through the court cases and watch the court cases as well. I don't know if we want to start another one while we're going through Gypsy, because Gypsy's going to take us a while to get through. I know there's so much I want to show on her. We do have heaps of all the text messages going on. As I said, MacJay has been wonderful in finding them. A lot of the crime scene photos we have, I want to go through and work out which ones we can play for you, and then find a way, I don't know, but find a way that we can show the others if we can, because once you see them, it really opens up the case, put it that way. I mean, I have theories whether it was Gypsy that has done some of them. I also have theories on whether someone else was in the house between Gypsy and Nick leaving and before police got there. I still believe someone else was in that house.
Wonder who.
And that's where, I mean, you will, once you see all the evidence in the interrogations and you listen to them, that's where you start to see all these things come together too. But I think we'll leave it there for today, because it's just been good to get back. I want to go back and rest a little bit more. Are you right for Friday afternoon again this time to do the interrogation?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure actually. Yeah, I don't have anything on Friday. I thought I wasn't going to make it in time because I was late coming back, and I'm like, oh my God, and I made it at like 10 minutes too.
Oh, I'm glad you did. So I'll set it down for Friday for the interrogation. As I said, it will be, I think it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours for the interrogation. Plus we'll point out our bits.
Can I just ask a quick chat? Well, you and chat a quick question, because I just had an idea how we could get around showing the video of this picture of the slash. Would you guys like to see if I can do a quick sketch and compare it to like just a quick sketch of it without too much gory detail, so you guys can see the difference? Would that be something you guys are interested in? You think that's a good idea?
Put a diagram together that can show. Because it is, you do got to see how bad some of these wounds are to understand what we're saying about. Jimmy, it's not just a little stab, it's actually a full cut that we're talking about. But we'll see what we can get. I also might put these 2 little videos that we've made up as, I don't know if they'll go as shorts or little videos, but I will put them up as well, so that if you want to go back over and have a look at them, or even with MacJay's, if you want to pause it so you can read them more, if MacJay's okay with that, I'll put them both up as little videos by themselves as well. And other than that, I will see you all Friday. Thank you, MacJay, for joining me today.
You're most certainly welcome. I'm not tired. You can show them on. I cannot read that.
Tammy's saying she's not monetized, so we can show them on her channel if we want.
I think
you can try. The only thing I'm scared of is you getting in trouble, because they are gruesome. I can send them to you, Tammy, and you can make a decision that way. I just don't want you to commit to something, because some of them are pretty bad. As I said, some of them we'll be able to put up. It's just some of them are really bad.
Like the one I mentioned before is really, really bad. Like, if you guys have ever seen a ham being cut, it's like on those Christmas movies. It's kind of like that, to put it nicely.
Yep. Yeah. But straight across the back of the neck.
Yes. Alrighty.
So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, MacJay.
Not a problem.
And I will see you all Friday. Thanks, everyone.
Well, bye, everyone.
There's too much that's going on, I don't know what to do. Paralyzed by options in this world, can't pick and choose. Yeah, everybody's life is on display, including you. Yeah, I feel every day is just the same, stuck in a loop. I need some variety, I'm sick of this anxiety. I'm sick of this society, they make us feel a rivalry. Compare ourselves to others, but we all got different mothers. We were raised in different structures, so we're different, it's no wonder, yeah. I just want a great life, something where I feel like I just didn't waste time. Something I look back and say that was a great time. Cause man, I just hate when the years pass by the wayside. Yeah, lost inside, and I need a little time to find who I am in this life. I will find a way to feel alive. I'm so lost inside. You better watch out now, I figured something out, what this whole life's about, yeah. It's not the goal, it's the journey, wasted emotion is worry. I'll stop being in a hurry, yeah. I'll just enjoy what I'm doing, keep pushing forward and moving, appreciate the improvement, yeah. I was so stuck on a goal, was losing sight of my soul. Need to enjoy getting old and be so present. I don't know if there's a heaven, but I know I wanna get in. And sometimes I feel a presence, energy in a direction, so I follow intuition. It took me to a musician, now I'm on a different mission, to help others with afflictions. Now I'm not lost inside.